Having experienced the horrors of the West Kingston incursion, I'm smiling because Romardo Lyons pushed through the odds and accomplished so much. Joining us now is PAJ's Young Journalist 2022. Hey, Romardo, Ricard Lyons, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
It's so amazing to have you. Um, so I'm going to take it back a little bit, Romardo. First of all, when did you think that, I want to become a journalist?
Well, that career choice was actually inspired by the incursion, and mostly, just experiencing what I experienced and witnessing firsthand some of the things that even up to this day haven't been reported.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of inspired me to want to be in media.
Yes.
At the time, at that very young age, I didn't know journalism was the field or the word to say. But I knew that I wanted to be in media, to share stories and, and a lot, stuff along that line. And even after, the incursion and, still being in Tivoli Gardens, there are many instances where things happen and they are not reported. And not only negatives, but, youth in the communities, in inner city communities who do extremely well. And, there isn't any representation in the media.
Yeah.
So that kind of fuel journalistic passion.
And I was very heartened, Rana, when you spoke up, because I feel like sometimes our young men come from certain geographic areas in Jamaica and they do well, but they're afraid to say, this is where I'm from, because they feel that people are going to respond in a particular way to them or not give them the kinds of opportunities that they've worked so hard to earn. And so I'm glad you're speaking up. And what does that do for you as a young man to be able to own and claim, this is where I'm from?
Well, trust me, it's overwhelming. And, I've always done that. Even in high school, I would proudly say, I am from Tivoli Gardens. I've never felt any kind of shame or, I was never ashamed to say I'm from Tivoli Gardens. I always owned it. And now, achieving certain things and seeing the reaction from like my friends in the community, family members, it's just truly, truly overwhelming.
Yeah.
In a positive.
I read aspects of your story, and to hear you say, this is what inspired to be a journalist is eye-opening, because I feel like a lot of what was reported were the general things. But when I read things like you and your family having to be under a bed, your mother having to crawl on the floor to get food, it really speaks to the fact that we still have no idea of what happened. What was that time like for you?
Whoa, it was a very challenging time. As I said in the story as well, at the time, I really thought that we were all going to die.
Wow.
It was a lot of crying, it was just non-stop gunshots. We could hear things that sounded like explosions. So, we assumed that they were bombs. And we had other family members in different parts of the community. And we would be getting calls and stuff like that saying, ensure the doors are locked, ensure that everywhere is closed off, because we're hearing that, gunmen running into houses and, the security forces are running after them. So that was even more terrifying. And that was when my mother and brother, had to be shimmying on their stomachs to get into the living room to push whatnots, behind the door. So if anyone tried to come in, it wouldn't be possible. And trust me, crazy, crazy.
Wow, wow. I'm glad that physically you made it out, Romardo, and I encourage you to continue to tell the stories of what happened, not just for you, but for the other people in the incursion who are not able to tell their stories as well. And so, how did you end up in journalism?
Well, I attended Calabar High School, and there came a time when, decisions had to be made. That was close to the end of sixth form.
Yeah.
And, the boys, including myself, we started thinking, what are we going to do after Calabar High School? So, you know, started looking at universities. For me, that was UWI. And, you know, just looking at the programs that were offered. And so, you know, I applied to do journalism. And thankfully, I was accepted. And, you know, that's how it all started. Of course, when I went there, there were various challenges, one of which was, you know, tuition. But my parents, big up to my parents, Owen Lyons, Pamela Maynard, you know, they made it happen for me. Many sacrifices, and tuition was sorted out, no student loan. They did it for me, and I'm so grateful.
Yes, yes. You did a month long intern, a little bit of time at the Star.
Yes.
Yes. And then you've been a key member of the Jamaica Observer Sunday Desk. What's that been like for you? What are some of the things that you like to cover? I know all journalists have the stories. When they get the assignment, they say, yes, this is me. What do you like to cover?
But firstly, I must say thanks to the Jamaica Star, because that was my first real experience in, you know, in journalism.
Yes.
And even more so, experience in print media, because at Carmack, I specialize in TV
What?
and radio.
What?
So Star gave me that experience, and I'm grateful. And now flash forward to the Jamaica Observer. You know, it's been an amazing experience. I just like going out and speaking to people. So when it comes to roving, I really enjoy that a lot. Going to like St. Thomas, you know, different parishes. Sometimes it takes hours. You leave out like 8 a.m. and then getting back home until like 7, 8 p.m.
Wow.
It's exhausting, but at the end of the day, it just feels justified. And, you know, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. I know you've done quite a few stories, but what are some of the stories that have been unforgettable to you? Like you've read them
Well,
and said, this is why I do this.
well, everyone should remember this, but this is my favorite story that I've ever done. So it's the story about, you know, our hurdler, Hansu Parchment, and the Japanese volunteer, Tijana, who assisted him in, I guess, one of the most chaotic times of his life
Yes.
when he was at Tokyo Olympics and he got on the wrong bus, ended up at the wrong venue, and had no cash to get to the right venue.
Yes.
And, you know, he approached a volunteer, explained the situation, and she did something that she really didn't have to do, which was offer him money. And that was how he got to the venue and, you know, was able to compete and was able to give us our only gold medal from the men from that Olympics. So when he shared that story, you know, highlighting the girl, I reached out to her immediately and she was like, oh, I don't speak English. I was like, all right, you don't have to worry. I speak Japanese.
Wow.
I don't. I was texting her and everything. Like when I wrote my questions, I copied them, put them in a Google Translator, translated to Japanese, then copied, pasted it on Instagram and sent to her. And I would do the same with her responses.
Yes.
And
Amazing.
it was just, yeah, it was thrilling.
Yeah. We got to do what we got to do to get the story, because I was like, Romardo, Romardo, you speak Japanese, but hey, I guess with Google we all do. If we have to. It's such a pleasure talking to you. A consistent individual winner and now PAJ's Young Journalist, which means you do great work. Please continue to provide the quality journalism that we look forward to when we hear your name. Congratulations to you once again.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, Delia. And I'll try.
Yes.
With God's guidance, I will.
You will. PAJ's Young Journalist 2021, Romardo Lyons. Thinking about going to the gym? I see